I need to make it clear that as a scientist, I think that we have to first have a hypothesis, and then we have to collect the evidence to evaluate whether or not our hypothesis is a valid one. In my view, in the field of reincarnation research, we only have a hypothesis at this point. So I cannot tell you this is absolute 100% proof of reincarnation. What I can tell you is that if we have certain kinds of evidence that are very strong, then we, in a scientific approach, can say this person is possibly the reincarnation of that previous life. We can say this person is likely to be the reincarnation. This person is quite likely. This person is very highly likely to be the only person living today who was the reincarnation of that past life. So you see, it's not 100%. It's 50% chance, 60% chance, 80% chance, 95% chance, 99% chance. So it's not definite proof. But from my point of view, in the best cases that we have, we can say in the strongest cases that Ms. X is more likely than anyone else in the whole world, the one person out of 6 billion in the whole world, if reincarnation is real, is the reincarnation of that person. And I use the case of Marilyn Monroe, for example. Everybody knows Marilyn Monroe. So we have a person, a Canadian woman, who, in our view, in this scientific approach, would say that if anyone in the world today is the reincarnation of Marilyn Monroe, it is most likely to be this person. And so that's the way we talk about proof. And by having all these different areas of evidence, we can say if the physical correspondences are very strong, the mental correspondences are very strong, the emotional, the interpersonal, and the creative interest, if all of those are very strong, we say, what other explanation could there be for this similarity other than reincarnation? It is the best explanation for the evidence that we have. I would like to first describe Mr. Plecko in terms of the scientific experiment that we are conducting on reincarnation. Many clues about a possible previous lifetime comes through intuitive methods. All of us as humans have a level of intuition where we understand things that are not concrete before us. We are able to exercise some telepathic or some remote viewing or some precognitive. These are intuitive senses that all humans have, but some individuals have much more finely tuned intuition. They are able to see more of the universal field of consciousness where information is available to us humans. And Mr. Plecko is one of those people. He, in his meditative practices, is able to relax his mind in such a way that his consciousness can see in areas and directions that most of us don't see on a regular basis. So in our reincarnation research project, we work with people like him and others to give us suggestions about possible past life connections. And then we take those suggestions and use our scientific method, using the 5 factors that I mentioned: the physical, the mental, the emotional, the interpersonal, and the creative areas of interest, to see how close those 2 lifetimes are. He has suggested several possible previous lifetime connections between some prominent Croatian people and people who lived in the 20th century or even in the 19th century. He has intuited some connections between Americans and Croatians, between current Americans and earlier Americans. What we've done is to take several of those cases and go through the process that I described earlier. We have taken pictures of both present and past lifetimes. We have measured them using biometric science, looking at the geometry of the bone structure and how the face is structured, the whole body, the whole genotype. And some of those similarities are so close that it's uncanny. You would almost say the person living today is the twin of that person who lived 100 years ago, or 50 years ago, or 200 years ago. And then when we look at the biography and we look at the personality and the careers of these people, how they behave, how they relate to family members, all of these factors that we look at, we have found several very significant cases that I would place in the top level of our strongest cases. And I'll be talking about those at the lecture to show pictures and descriptions that indicate that, remember, let me express it this way, if reincarnation is real, then it is very likely that the people that we're talking about in the United States and in Croatia are the reincarnations of people that have been identified initially through this intuitive process.